When the commitment to Florida State Division I golf became public, most people focused on the headline and missed the detail that mattered most. Charlie Woods didn't call his father first. That sequence, who knew, when they knew, who controlled the information, told a quieter, more revealing story. It wasn't just a proud father moment. It was a subtle declaration of independence. As his father put it, Charlie is his own person. Yes, he's his son, but whatever he does in golf, he does on his own terms. Around the PNC Championship, the familiar questions surfaced again: how good is Charlie? His swing looks just like his dad's. Is he destined for greatness? Analysts pointed out that his amateur record in Florida places him roughly in the top third of his age group. Talented but not dominant, promising but not inevitable. The public framed the commitment as expected, almost scripted. But it wasn't automatic, and it wasn't just about legacy. It was a decision shaped by development, fit, and autonomy. The narrative wrote itself instantly: Tiger's son follows the path, but the reality is more nuanced. This wasn't a coronation. It was a young golfer choosing his own lane, even while carrying one of the most recognizable names in sports. When the commitment to Florida State Division I golf became public, most people locked onto the headline and missed the subtle detail that mattered. Charlie Woods didn't call his father first. That sequence, who knew, when they knew, who controlled the message, revealed more than the announcement itself. It wasn't just a proud moment for Tiger Woods. It was a quiet signal of independence. As Tiger has said, Charlie is his own person. Yes, he carries the name, but whatever he does in golf, he does on his own terms. Around the PNC Championship, the same questions surfaced. How good is he? The swing looks familiar. Is greatness inevitable? Analysts noted his Florida amateur resume places him in the top third of his age group. Strong, but not dominant. The public treated the commitment like destiny fulfilled. In reality, it was a choice rooted in development, fit, and autonomy. Not a coronation, just a young golfer carving out his own lane under the brightest spotlight in the sport. Charlie Woods played while the cameras were already rolling. But that's not how Division I recruiting typically works. Coaches focus on metrics, finishes, and consistency. They recruit players who've proven they can handle pressure against peers in competitive settings. By those standards, Charlie's tournament record wouldn't crack the top 50 in his class. Yet Florida State extended an offer. The real question isn't why they wanted him. It's why he was allowed in. At the level where legacy intersects with media value, decisions aren't made by 17-year-olds. They're made by the infrastructure around them. That infrastructure had already calculated the value. Tiger Woods never played college golf beyond 2 years at Stanford before turning pro. And even those years were essentially a formality. The professional circuit was always the destination. So why would his son commit 4 full years to a system Tiger himself never fully embraced? That's where the story flips. Charlie's commitment isn't primarily about development, it's about narrative control. Those who understand how golf legacies function realized something the public didn't. Charlie can't go pro yet. Not because of talent or readiness, but because from a marketing standpoint, the business model isn't there. At 17, he can't sign deals that justify media attention. Can't enter PGA Tour events without sponsor exemptions that would look like nepotism. And can't step into the professional ecosystem without being measured against an impossible standard. College, however, acts as a delay mechanism disguised as choice. It keeps the story alive. The golf media complex has invested years in Charlie Woods' coverage of his swing changes, tournament appearances, his presence, and his relationship with Tiger Woods. That investment only retains value if the narrative continues. Turning pro prematurely risks failure, collapse of expectations, and the premature end of the story. The comparison to Tiger Woods becomes embarrassing rather than aspirational, and media content risks drying up. Florida State solves that problem by creating a protected environment where development occurs away from the professional spotlight. Wins matter, but they don't define him. Losses are simply part of growth. The media can cover him without the intense scrutiny of professional results. And most importantly, it buys time for his body to mature, for his game to sharpen, and for the professional golf landscape to shift in ways that might create a more favorable entry point. But this strategy only works if Charlie Woods agrees to be managed. The first signal of this decision occurred 6 months ago when he quietly withdrew from a junior event in California. No explanation, no injury report, just a removal from the field 2 days before the tournament began, while it barely registered publicly. 3 college coaches who had planned to observe him immediately understood. The evaluation window was closed. They weren't recruiting Charlie, they were waiting to see which program had already been chosen. The second signal came in December at the PNC Championship, where Tiger and Charlie played together. This time, every interview question directed at Charlie about his future was systematically redirected, reinforcing that his path and narrative were being carefully managed, not by Charlie himself, but by the media handlers managing the situation. Questions about college were permitted, but questions about turning pro were shut down before they even reached him. This isn't simply protecting a kid from Pressureite's strict message discipline. The third defining moment came with the announcement itself. Florida State didn't break the news. Charlie's camp did. They controlled the release, the timing, and the framing, while the university and coaching staff learned it the same day as the public. This wasn't recruitment, it was placement. From that point on, the script is written. Charlie will play for years at Florida State unless something catastrophic occurs. He'll win some collegiate events, earn All-American honors, and the media will cover him just enough to maintain interest without creating unrealistic expectations. By the time he turns pro in 2029, the landscape will have shifted live, PGA merger resolved or abandoned, equipment companies with new marketing budgets and media rights deals reset. Charlie Woods, now 22, will enter professional golf as a fully formed athlete rather than a developmental project. The cost, however, is that he may never truly know whether this path was his own choice. Every college athlete wonders what they could have done professionally. But for most, the question never haunts them. They simply weren't good enough. Charlie Woods is different. He's already capable of playing professional golf, not Tiger level. Not top 10, but good enough to earn money and navigate the professional grind. Florida State removes that uncertainty and replaces it with a structured, managed path. In 4 years, when he's ready to turn pro, the story will be about his readiness, maturity, and complete game, not whether he was protected or protecting himself. College golf serves as a safety net for elite juniors when the professional route is too risky. It preserves eligibility, maintains amateur status, and keeps options open. For Charlie, however, there are no real alternatives. He can either step into professional golf fully prepared or step away entirely. There's no middle ground of mini tours or developmental limbo. The media and public would never accept it. And constant comparison to Tiger would turn any struggle into a referendum on his worth. As Tiger himself put it, Charlie is his own person, his decisions, his game, his path. Florida State isn't the nation's top golf program, but it offers coaching stability, a history of developing tour players, and geographic logic that keeps Charlie in a manageable environment without constant exposure. It's good enough to be respectable, close enough to maintain family access, and connected enough to the professional infrastructure to ensure a smooth transition when the time comes. In reality, it's a holding pattern disguised as a journey. Charlie Woods represents a generational talent who is never allowed to choose chaos. Tiger could turn pro at 20 and gamble on himself because the surrounding infrastructure was thin enough to let him fail. Expectations were high, but not predetermined. Charlie cannot do that. Every swing is measured against a standard he didn't set. Every tournament framed by a legacy he didn't build. When he turns pro in 4 years, the question won't be whether he's ready, but whether the infrastructure that controlled his path can still protect him when results truly matter. His commitment to Florida State wasn't about development or education. It was about timing. Those managing his path understood a fundamental truth in golf. Legacy isn't about raw talent, it's about entering the system when the narrative can support you, not when you're ready to compete. The path was never his to choose. The path was never his to choose.